So we just jumped off of a call. That is my standard Monday morning call. That call is there every single week, Monday, 8 a.m. As you obviously saw, a little bit of my morning, kind of just starting off a little bit slower, having a coffee, sitting on the couch. I usually actually try to have breakfast before my coffee, but I would say that Mondays are just kind of one of those different days where it's more so a coffee as like a treat, and then we jump right into work. But I actually thought that I had a call right after this at 9. It's 8:27 right now. That was a quicker one. We only had about 1 or 2 people jumping on there. Usually there's about 4 or 5 people because that's a group call for my my Inner Circle program. But since that's not the case and I don't have a call, that call is actually at 11. I'm thinking about possibly going to the gym now. Just to kind of get that out of the way, move that up. Usually I go about 10, so I don't want to go at 10 and then, have to be rushing back, for the call or preparing for it. So I am thinking about doing that now. So I'm going to keep bringing you guys along with me. We got an update coming in this video, so you guys will see a little bit more of a sit down talking about, hey, my 27th mission. So I'm going to try to drop the time of when that's going to take place in this video in case that's the only thing you care about. But stay tuned for that and enjoy. Welcome back to Chris Winters' channel. See, like, why'd I say welcome back to Chris Winters' channel? Like, that just ruined the whole speaking or talking part right there. And now it makes me almost feel like I have to re-record it. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're just going to let it run. I always ruin it. Say like I'll be recording content. Say like the awesome, awesome stuff. Perfect, well spoken. And the next thing you know, I mumble or mess up the last little part and then it throws everything off. But instead, we actually want to have that opposite perspective where it's, hey, this is why I'm following the morning routine, because it's pumping me up. It's getting me energized. I go crush a workout or a run, and now I kind of use that energy to, fuel into the calls, because it's super easy when people are working that busy schedule to say, I got to hit snooze. I got to save the energy. I can't wake up early and do this, so I like to hear that. It's a little bit of a test too, right? Because then at the end of the week, we get to hey, I had a busy week. I really got to test the things we've been working on in here, but this is where I fell short, or this is how it helped me out tremendously. My 27th mission. So on June 13th, I just turned 27, and it's interesting because that in itself is almost like a barrier for myself. When I first got into business, or when I first got into coaching, I was hesitant to kind of share facts or things about my life, right? I didn't want people to know that I was still living at home. I didn't want people to, know that I was only 23 or 24 years old when I started my business. And, now over the last few months, I've moved out, I moved into a new place, and, obviously I've just announced, hey, I just turned 27. And the good thing about that is I see other people that are in this space, maybe in their 30s, maybe in their 40s, and I've always used that idea of being in business for the long term, where it's like, imagine me 10 years from now being able to say, hey, I'm only, 35, 37, and I've been doing this for 10 years, right? But a lot of these people, they start when they're 30, they start when they're 40, and they have to go through all of these different steps. And so I've been able to learn these things over the last 4 years of building out the business. And, I don't know why I've always been held back from that. Maybe it's, hey, are these people going to want to trust me with their lives, with their business, with, my guidance and my support. But I'm making this video because my 27th mission, and June 13th, you guys can see when this video is posted, is, at this point, 2 to 3 weeks away from now. I've been wanting to record this video since that Friday, and unfortunately life happens, things popped up. My grandma unexpectedly passed away, a few weeks ago, or over this past week, and there's just things that happen. There's things that go about it, and this death has been a weird processing, just because she's probably the second best person that I've really ever known. The first best person was my grandpa that had passed away, and somebody that would just do anything for anybody, giving up his time, giving up his energy, giving up, whatever it was to be able to help people. He did things fully, right? It was no shortcuts. If for those that know him, I have this image of him cutting a cheesecake or cutting, a piece of pie, and just every slice was done the right way. If he was cutting a tree, everything was perfect. And he was one of those people that I definitely want to model myself after. And the next person was my grandma, who just passed away. And she was somebody that didn't want to celebrate her own birthday, didn't want gifts, didn't want any spotlight on her. She was the first person to give other people a gift. She was the first person to call you and wish you a happy birthday. She was the first person to, ask about you. And now, I didn't see her as much as I saw my grandpa, but it's just been really, really interesting to process through this one, because there's nobody else that, I know and that I can think of right now that lives that way, right? Obviously, there's people that are close to me. There's my parents that, live their life to try to, live up to that. But that's where I'm at right now. And so staying on topic with this, and my 27th mission is documenting me, right? I always come back to this. Hey, I hope you like it. I want to make videos that my future kids would be proud to watch, right? I want to stop forcing the, hey, the cool content. Obviously, I want things to look cool, but I want to share what's on my mind. What am I working through, And since moving into the, apartment, it's hey, I've been a little bit stressed, It's I basically shut off my business for the first 2 months of moving out, bringing in virtually zero sales because I've been relaunching, and to see kind of money get, I don't want to say flushed away, but going towards the rent and other stuff, but not bringing money in, it's been an interesting perspective. But There's always things going on behind the scenes. So a part of my 27th mission is still impact. Over the last 4 years, I've been building Project Life, but now there comes a new step, a new pillar to my coaching, bringing two of my worlds, one that is a little bit newer, even though it's been 4 years, and one that is inevitably built me, right? One that has literally formed who the person I am today, and that is baseball. A little over 2 years ago, I bumped into one of my old coaches and I got back into baseball coaching. I currently coach a 9-year-old baseball team, but I've been doing lessons, classes, and all these things. And at the time of me starting the baseball, it was more so of a distraction, not a distraction, it was more so me to get away from my business, me to get away from my computer. And I loved making the kids laugh, and I loved doing the lessons, and I loved helping them out. But there's been more of a calling over these last 2 to 3 months. I have a business mind, and it's been me wanting to help more. I see some of the best kids on some of these teams saying, I suck, I stink, I can't hit, I'm not good, I'm scared. And I hate to see that. So with me and Project Life being able to help entrepreneurs and business owners master their mindset, build their confidence, to remove the limiting beliefs and the stories that they built when they were 10 years old, 7-year-old, 12 years old, that still control them to this day. Now I get to leave my imprint on, I guess, the most cliche, building the next generation of athletes, but getting to push them in my way, right? Getting not only a 30-minute lesson during the week, but to be able to impact them more around their mindset, to be able to push them more physically with, challenging them, making them stronger. I think a lot of people in today's world, we get distracted by our, our phones or our laptops or, our video games, as I was once addicted, but now I get to bring that together. So instead of me being a coach in my business and then stepping away for some part-time lessons or whatever, I'm officially bringing those two worlds together. It is Coach Chris, business owners, entrepreneurs, and it is Coach Chris, building up athletes and helping out, future baseball players, at youth level, high school level, and maybe even getting, college level, athletes one day. So I'm going to be documenting that journey, bringing you guys on. It's now me really building another business, but something that is super, super aligned with everything I've been doing. But I think I've just been hiding from that fact or too scared to kind of lean into it. You guys know my dream and my vision is to have a headquarters, and this doesn't change that plan. Every single week when I make a new plan, at the top I write a countdown of how many weeks till Project Life HQ, and right now I believe we're at week 39. 39 weeks till Project Life HQ. Who knows if we'll make it happen, but I want to be able to document this, and I want to make sure that I record this moment for those that are following me, and for me to be able to look back and say, look at what we've done, right? Look at what we've built. Look at where I came from. Hey, in a moment of feeling stressed, in a moment of feeling like things are not really coming together, look at what we pushed through. Look at what we have, been able to accomplish. So 27th mission this next year is impact. And it's a part of it is starting over, right? It's addition by subtraction, right? It's not just trying to do more, but it's, hey, how do I get some time back, right? How do I, make more with less time, right? How do I really change, things up to be able to bring these two worlds together? So, I hope you guys enjoy this, and please feel free to follow along on the vision.